So that was where I was like, a pickle and a leprechaun? You've lost your mind entirely. There's no way.
I mean, with enough KY, they'll go. Trust me. Enough KY, determination, and elbow grease. They'll go. They'll go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Tower Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast. It's really good to see you all.
Stop.
As you can see, we're batting 1,000.
We're already on our bullshit. We ain't even got started yet.
We have a new supervisor now. We don't know how to talk and stuff. So
did you give her the clipboard or?
It's on a tablet. The future is now, old man.
It's in the cloud.
Oh, everyone! I am your Bajan Mahale. I'm one of your hosts here at the Black Tower Podcast. My name is Andrew. If you're from the government, my name is Get Off My Lawn. Come back with a warrant.
I am the Sorovan Mahale. My name is Josh with the government, or you can call me DJ Stinks if you're nasty.
And I am the work in progress, Mahale. Reese, if you're anyone else, and redacted if you're from the government.
Oh, man.
Wolf Brothers up in the chat. He who comes with the wines up in the chat. What's up?
Oh. So, elephant in the room, for those of you not in our illustrious, exclusive Patreon circle.
Maybe they should be
that
in our
fancy
Patreon
spot.
Circle.
You should. Where can they find that, Josh?
I mean, there's a number of places. If you go to patreon.com and you search for Black Tower Pod, that's a good way to do it. If you're in this episode right now, if you're watching this episode right now, look at the live chat. Yeah, and you're probably not in the live chat unless you are a Patreon, but you can look in the live chat and you can see a link that I just posted goes to the Patreon. How crazy is that? Or you can even go to a little web page.
Just type that whole thing. Pause and type that whole thing right now. Work for it. I love how it ends with copy link.
You love it? Or, if you want, you can just go to our regular website, which is www.blacktowerpod.com. It's got all of our socials there. All of them. All of them. You got to say it.
It's also in the show notes and description down below if you don't want to type it.
It's
you
like
can
a
just
week.
click it there.
All of them. Why, thank you, Rebecca Sedai.
We have a link tree somewhere.
Somewhere.
Rebecca likes your coat.
My coat of many colors.
That your mother made for you.
It's
a good song. It's a good song.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, now I don't remember who made the song. Dolly Parton. That's who I thought it was. I just didn't want to be wrong. My Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton. It's a really good song.
I thought you were. See, I was doing Technicolor. I was doing Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I only know of two multicolored coats, and that's the biblical story.
And the musical.
I don't know the musical. So.
What? Well, you know what? I grew up
growing up in my family in the South, in the Southern Baptist tradition. We didn't do any of that heathenistic crap that you were doing over in wherever in the hell you from.
Yeah, Utah. Real heathenistic in Utah.
I mean, depends on who you ask. Depends on who you ask, man. Soaking is a crime, man. Soaking is a crime.
I think.
Speaking of, did you see like how the Japanese have innovated? I think it's either the Japanese or the Chinese have innovated soaking with the bed that bounces for you.
No. So you don't need a jump pumper?
You don't need a third party. You can soak in private with your beloved as John Smith intended.
Dude, look. It's what's old. What is old is new again, and what is new will be old again. That's just a vibrating bed in a seedy motel. You put the little quarters in, and the bed goes.
I think you could buy those on like one of the old Sims games, and it was a way to like make sure your Sims had kids.
Woohoo!
Soaking is a technique. It's called soaking, and it's art.
Do you know what I love about the Black Tower Podcast?
That we're 7 minutes in and completely unhinged.
Completely. But you know what? If you want it to be even more unhinged, be sure to check out that Patreon. And there's two beautiful things about being a patron. One, it's cheap. It's literally less than $1 a month if you do the annual subscription. And that gets you access to our exclusive patron channels, and access to our live recordings. It's great. If you go to higher tiers, we've got things like merch of the month, sticker of the month club. You know, it goes. It escalates.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It is. And the second great thing
Like
about
herpes.
it is you know that none of us are lining our pockets with that money. That's what all that sweet Amazon shill money is.
Yeah.
But when you give us money, that just goes right back into the BTP and helps pay for things like a super freaking sweet Airbnb for the Gathering Madness. Which, by the way, Andrew, if we want to do that again in October, I've been looking at some of the insane Airbnbs here in Utah. There's a castle.
Oh,
There's a castle. I'm just throwing that out there.
we're gonna have to talk. You had me at castle.
And let's do this really quick because you guys
And you can
may
do
have
this.
recognized-
You can record
Oh, that's right.
spoiler warnings for us, and you can also there's a tier where we'll record things for you. You can send us over like a script or whatever, and we'll record some voice or video within reason for you.
Within
again-
reason for you.
Yeah, within reason for you. And if we say no, we will work with you to get something together.
But let's, guys,
There's just some things we're not gonna do on principle. So
we're not going to say no.
there's not many of them, but there are some.
Name your price. All things are negotiable.
I mean, there is a price for all people's dignity and morality. So
Ours
Just
just
how many-
happens to be a little less than most others.
how many zeros you want to put on that PayPal transfer? I guess.
But let's do this.
The
Like,
elephant.
we haven't done this. Yeah, the elephant.
We have not done the elephant.
Wait, what were you saying?
I don't know. Like I was going to talk about the elephant in the room, but then I stopped because I don't want to interrupt where
No,
you're
yeah.
going.
Are
I
you
don't know
talking
if we're
about
going to the same place.
the same? Are we going to the same elephant?
I mean, I don't know if I'd call them an elephant. That seems a
Because
little
you're
rude.
gonna have to be more specific about this elephant you're talking about.
Like,
I would also agree. It's kind of mean to call Reese an elephant.
yeah, that'd be
I mean,
kind
it's
of rude.
a jellyfish, guys.
Oh, I thought it just had a bunch of tusks. No,
No, those are
See-
tentacles. Wait, hold on. Let me wake it up.
I didn't pass biology.
Oh my
Oh, it
God!
wiggles.
Mhm.
Sure does. The elephant
wait,
in the room.
There you
Hello.
Mhm.
Please, everybody,
Mhm.
give your
Mhm.
taintiest welcome to Reese Sedai, the question mark Mihail. This is the official announcement. If you check our socials, we're going to have them posted out tonight as well. Welcome, Reese,
Ooh.
to the Black Tower.
Well, by tonight, if you're watching this publicly, which will be
Yeah,
like
you'll see.
this is like the 28th. So the last Friday of February. So if you're watching live, you've already seen it on the Discord. And we'll be doing something
You're a
public.
patron.
I'm hoping that before we do the full, other than this episode, when we do the full public announcement that we have a new Mahale, we're back up to the power of 3. That
The
will
power of 1, the power of 2, the power of 3.
that will have a Mahale title to use. Because there's a lot pending on this Mahale title. The Mahale title, it guides us in the paths we choose in life of this podcast. It guides us when we try to get like chibis done.
True.
You know, the Bajan Mahale title guided Josh in making the Bajan Mahale emblem with the shield and the swords and the fire. And the Sorvan Mahale guided Josh in making the Dragon's Fang clitoris with the bloody lightning bolts. I mean, the Dragon's Fang with the devastating lightning bolts of red anger.
I think you had
Yeah.
it right the first time.
With the exploded nerve endings from too much flicking.
No, no, no.
That's how you know it was good. The nerve endings are exposed. Oh man. So
No, but
that's
that's
gonna
true,
help.
that's
That's
true.
gonna help guide with Reese. That's why it's so important. Because this Mahale title is going to help inform the design of Reese's chibi, which is going to be featured in all of our stuff. get added to the new intro once we have it done and everything. The sigil we make for that Mahale title, the emblem, whatever you want to call it, all of this stuff.
Which, by the way, you can go to our if you go to blacktowerpod.com, you can go to our merch shops and you can join one of the Gar, right? You can join the Sauron Gar by purchasing some Sauron Mahale gear and proudly representing your Gar. Or you can join the Baijan Gar if you really want to be mid and buy some of the Baijan Mahale stuff. And once we get Reese's title,
join the Sauron Gar and stand back because you're too afraid to get your hands dirty. What's the matter, Josh? Afraid to get wet.
Afraid to get wet. But we're gonna get once we get Reese's title out, once we get, she'll be the Mahale of whatever Gar, and you'll be able to join that Gar.
Yeah. So we'll get it
Reese,
figured out.
Have anything to say for yourself?
I played the fifth.
Of Jack, of Sailor Jerry, of vodka. Like what are we?
Which
fifth of what?
Yes.
Sweet.
Represent your Gar.
Equal opportunity enjoyer. Yeah.
Love it.
Does the fact checker Mahale have a Gar?
I
mean,
there's
probably
jokes to be made here.
Not
Not anymore.
Everywhere. But I think that's about it as we get ready to move into the
one thing really quick.
Yeah.
If you guys are on X and you see Memo posting about commissions being open, please hit us up because we want to jump in on that. We want to get our chibi set up.
Yeah.
So
tag us in it or let her know that we're looking or
Black
something. I don't know. Yeah. We got to get things done. And you are part of that fight.
I'm doing my part.
I'm not doing fucking shit.
I am doing fucking shit.
Just like Perrin. Anyway, speaking of the books. Oh, Reese, what do you say? What do you say we cover everybody from being spoiled so we can get into this episode? Sound good to you?
I think that does sound good to me. Thank you.
Let's see if Voice Mod wants to play correctly tonight or not. Let's see if we hear Norm.
Hello, I'm Tam Sorrell Norm. You may remember me from the Dusty Wheel or the Black Tower podcast. I'm here to give you a public service announcement about spoilers, as this episode may contain some. As if you didn't already know that, like watching the film Titanic and being surprised that the boat sinks at the end of the movie. Hello, moron. The movie is called Titanic. Of course, the boat fracking sinks. This show is called the Black Tower Podcast, as in from the Wheel of Time. And these three guys are Ashaman. Well, at least two of them. I don't know about that. Anyway, you have been warned.
Love it. Love that Reese's first night, and she's already more of an Ashaman than I am. Cool.
Yeah. That was guys in the colloquial sense.
Guys, yeah. The gender neutral term.
Less of a like, hey, look at those two guys over there, and more of a, hey, you guys.
Or maybe like, look at all those guys that are kissing each other.
I mean,
right? It's cool.
Hey,
it's 2025.
Whatever you want, man.
Could be anybody.
Yeah, it can. Reese, as it is your first official episode as a Mahale, I'm going to leave the duty to you. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about Grayman.
Oh, yes! Yes! Yay! You did that, and I was like, oh my God, is that a Dayman reference? And it was, and I love you.
I'm really happy with this thumbnail, too. We got Reese looking over her shoulder like, the fuck is that? Josh being like, that doesn't look good. I don't know what my face says about it. But
it looks like it came from Night of the Living Dead. Did you pull that from They're Coming to Get You, Barbara? Look, there's one now.
Mm-hmm. It was literally just a horror podcast like template that was up there. I didn't even search it. I just scrolled, found it, and I was like, yeah, okay. Normally I tweak and change the background and do all this stuff. I didn't really do a whole lot with this one. So I was also like pretty busy at work and running short on time, and the creative juices weren't flowing.
It happens.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it was pretty dry. It's pretty dry. Not really all that aroused creatively. So.
Gray man. Shadow spawn of Shaitan. Love it. Love it.
Doesn't like the sun.
never know. It could be
You
gray
will
men
never
tanning in
see him,
Tanchico.
but he will kill everyone. I've been
Gray
thinking about this
man.
for a while.
I love. That's such a great riff. That should be our idle entry. I'll be Mac. I'll come in. Oh no, 'tis a gray man.
Oh
Is
god,
it?
it's gonna
Can
be
you see
flashback to a really awkward TikTok trend.
Oh,
Look, it's
that
Jordan.
crazy microphone guy is in the chat again. The microphone, Mahale.
It's pretty much the same as usual. All right, gray men. Surprisingly, you may not have thought this, you may not have figured this, but their name comes from their appearance. Shocker. They have a tendency to have dead eyes and dead-looking skin, grayish in color skin. They're also known as the soulless, or the not dead, as the wolves call them. Not to be confused with zombies. These gray men do not reside in Hinderstadt, so not them. It wouldn't work, but that would be a cool idea if like every time the shadow just needed a gray man, they just like plucked someone out of Hinderstadt and sent them off somewhere to do a thing.
Yeah, that would
And
actually.
then when they were
be
done,
kinda
they were just
cool.
like, bloop. Yeah. Why didn't they do that? Just assassins. Bam. Go do the thing. Even if you fail, we'll just send you again. Anyway, gray men, they are a type of shadow spawn. However, unlike most shadow spawn, they are not constructs. They are not 100% created, built, gathered from the dirt around Shao Ghul. They are a perversion, a tainting, if you will, of ordinary people.
Bunch of perverts.
Yeah, bunch of perverts. That's why they're sneaking around, peeping in your windows. Gray men, more like peeping toms.
Doing the creep.
Bunch of freaking weirdos. So they begin life as ordinary men or ordinary people who have not only pledged their soul as a dark friend, but have given their souls entirely over to the Dark One. And it is after this process that they become almost completely unnoticeable, to the point where fades get a little bit of this description, where something about their cloaks and just their mannerisms for the fades, your eyes tend to just kind of want to slide past them. Well, take that and jack it up to 11 for the gray men. Like, even I think there's plenty of times where like Rand is like, there's a gray man there, and he's trying to force himself to look at the gray man, and it's like nigh impossible to just focus on it. It's like, Josh, did you ever do nighttime like fire training or nighttime watch training in the military? Or have you ever, well, just period, have you ever been out at night and you could see a silhouette of something and you try to look directly at it to focus on it and it disappears,
Yes.
but you kind of look off to the side and use your little peripheral of your
You gotta
peepers?
try to trick it.
Yeah. So you look off to the side and then you can make out the silhouette and see it off there just staring at you menacingly. Kind of how the gray men go.
There's another technology that exists in the universe that utilizes this same sort of mechanics, right? The same sort of physics, and it's called an SEP drive. Now, the SEP drive is very little energy to use, and because it ignores it feeds on a person's natural tendency to like ignore things that they don't recognize or understand. So like a gray man sitting in a crowd of people, you would never notice a gray man in a crowd of person, because it's hard for us as people to differentiate a singular person in a whole crowd unless we really try and focus on that. The SEP is actually the someone else's problem field from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I love that. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a thing like hiding in plain sight kind of thing, which is almost what the gray men do. So because of this
thing, like those like floaties in your eye, where when you try to look at them, they just keep moving.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, those eye floaties are like dead cells, right? So these are like decaying souls that we can't quite see their actual visage, whatever.
The visage. Oh, you dare gaze upon my dead visage?
I need to hold on.
You need to hold on.
I refuse.
It's Leia, who's popping by to say
Hi.
congrats, Reese, on your Mahale status.
Thank you.
On your questionable
My
Mahale status.
questionable males. I like it.
Here we go. Your visage, you know?
Yeah, he gets it.
Here we go, Commissioner Smack bringing in the Stewie Griffin reference. Oh, squiggly line in my eye.
So that's what the gray man is. Just the squiggly line in your eye.
It's the gray man.
So because of this, they wound up being astoundingly effective ass ends. Ass ends.
Reese,
Assassins, because of their
all I
ability
can
to slip
think of-
by unnoticed.
Every time someone says gray man now, my brain goes, ah! Every time.
I know. I've been having a really hard time doing research because of this.
You ruined it for me.
It's not hard for me because I don't get the joke. Hooray.
Well, you need to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia then, because that shit is hilarious.
I mean, I've watched some of it.
Just
not that
Google
much.
Dayman, Always Sunny, and you'll get what we're talking about.
I don't think I want to right now.
You gotta pay the troll's toll if you want to get into that boy's hole. Gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
I don't think I want any part of that.
No, it's boy's soul. Yeah, that's what I said. Gotta pay the troll toll if you want to get into that boy's hole.
Sounds very Diddy.
It's pretty
Diddy
good, actually.
Good night, Leia.
Good night.
Good night, Leia.
May your roof be prosperous and free of leaks.
May your roof be mistressed.
By you.
So, assassins. Gray men make really great assassins due to their ability to pass generally completely unnoticed, even to the point where the victim themselves generally don't notice the presence of the gray men until they've been stuck or struck or whatever verb you want to use. They've been stabbited, and that's no good. Stabbited.
It is
Witnesses to the murder. Yeah. Witnesses to the murder often report seeing the victim fall, yet they still don't even see the killer or the attacker. It's just like out of nowhere. They were fine, then they were stabbed. Which makes me wonder how many people wound up going to jail because a gray man killed somebody and they were like, no, they were fine. And then they were just bleeding out. I have no clue what happened. And everybody's like, right. Like, the only place that might be a valid legal defense is, like, the borderlands. Anywhere else, except for there, maybe Tarvalon. Like, imagine being anywhere else in Andor, and it was like, no, I swear, she was fine, and then she was bleeding and dead. And Morgaze is just like, right.
It was not me. It was not that there man.
It was the gray man. Oh, right. How can I ever explain to you how many times a person in my position hears that excuse? The gray man did it.
Yet another ne'er-do-well claiming it was not them. Do you not have a reputation for being a cut purse? Now you're a cut person.
Very good.
Hang him by the neck until he's dead.
Very good. Hang him by
I wish
the
to
neck.
see his feet kick in the garden. No. Outside yon window, I don't wish to get up. I finally got my cheeks in a comfortable clench. Rand ordering the hanging of that one Aiel.
Yes, I believe that is exactly what Rand did. Rand,
That's
and as he
exactly
did
how
it, he was like, cheerio, have a fantastic last day of life.
Please, mercy, pardon me. I pardon you from life. As for... Huh?
When I go to JordanCon and we are interviewing one of the celebrities from the TV show, and I've forgotten key pieces of equipment, it's not going to be my fault anymore. It's going to be the gray man's fault.
I mean...
That gray man
no
was
longer
all up in here and took our
He
stuff.
was all up in my room, all up in my luggage, all up in my tech, and now we have a 10-minute silent film interviewing Guy Roberts.
It's a grayscale film.
So,
You actually can't see anyone in it.
we really just need to have like
technically, there
really
are 12
need the-
gray men in this picture.
We really need to have like the Fairly Odd Parents meme and just a still from that interview, and be like, this is where I put my Guy Roberts interview if I had one. Goddamn gray man done came in and turned off the microphone.
Goddamn gray man.
Oh man.
Damn gray man. We never
Creation.
learned something.
Creation of said gray persons. Little to nothing is known about exactly how the soulless are created. It does involve a trip to Shao Ghul. They are dark friends who have pledged their life to the Dark One and have pledged their very soul to the Dark One and allowed the Dark One, presumably, to remove their soul in some way, shape, or form. The result of this process then separates the person from the normal elements of the pattern, leaving like this husk that could just be given orders to go and do things, but kind of slips around the normalness of the pattern. So now the Dark One has more souls to use for his little, making all his other little things.
The Dark One has paid the trolls toll.
And now he's in that little boy's soul.
Yep.
Nope, never gonna be happy with that one.
Andrew, Always Sunny. Right after you finish reading New Spring.
Deal. Deal. I'll put that somewhere behind finishing Mistborn, which the first episode of that is live on North Harbor Podcast.
Oh, that's right.
As we're recording today. So today's the 18th, so go over to North Harbor Podcast and check that out so you can hear all of my horrible takes on
If you can't find it,
Mistborn.
we'll give you a map.
Oh,
There you go.
Reese knows where it is.
I hope so.
Hey, look,
So
men get shit all the time for not knowing how to find North Harbor. There are women who do not know where North Harbor
men
is.
get shit all the time for going too far south of North Harbor. All right.
And some men are too excited about finding South Harbor.
That's where they get the shit from, South Harbor. Wrong harbor. You got your compass mixed up. You know how hilarious it would be to just be walking around the halls of the hotel at JordanCon and just hear someone shout, "Wrong harbor!" Man.
I still love what North Harbor did, where they hung up a sign on their door, on their hotel room, that said North Harbor Podcast, and you had to take a picture of yourself, you know, like there, and then show it to them, and then you got the ribbon, I found North Harbor. Well played.
So,
Well played.
Reese, if you had to think of... Oh, God. If you sail in the dark, be careful. Jesus.
Watch out! Watch out, folks!
If you had to think of
Something
some of the
silver
most alert, observant individuals from the Wheel of Time, who might you think of?
Probably Tom.
Tom, for sure.
Tom for sure.
He doesn't
And
miss.
probably
a trick.
Moraine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of them. And Lan.
Those are good
I'm
ones.
I'm gonna say Matt,
Mm.
and here's why. Here's why. I feel like, and it's gonna sound stupid, right? It's the science of stupid, where he's focused on something else entirely, and he's so in the moment. He's so introspective that everything around him becomes the same amount of white noise, and that's what allows him to not see a gray man, but kind of register that there's a dude walking towards him.
Yeah. He like subconsciously picks out the most important
And he
thing
starts
in the
going,
room.
wait a minute, what's going on? Why is that guy coming at me? And I will say this. So we're doing the Watt reread, right? Following along. If you're following along this month, we're doing Path of Daggers. Follow our socials, get updates on it. But if we rewind the tape and go back to, I think it was The Dragon Reborn, when Matt is healed and in Tarvalon. He's trying to leave Tarvalon. Matt solos a gray man. It's such an impressive feat to me. So if we're talking about observant people, if we're talking about people that are like hyper aware, Matt's got to be on the list.
That's actually funny. I was just reading, I saw a post today on the science of luck. and how much it actually exists. And there's like a great deal of it that has to do with just like mindset. Like if you think you are unlucky, you're going to be anxious. You're going to kind of like, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And then Matt is kind of the opposite, where it's like he kind of just like fumbles into best case scenario. And there's also that like probability factor that, I mean, you know, Matt kind of has the drop on with his, you know, Taviranness. But I always wonder like how much of it is his observance and just his luck at seeing that thing at the right time. Whereas the other person would kind of just look over it and like might actively observe, but then like you said, subconsciously he lucks in on the correct thing that allows him to fight it.
Yes. I love that. And you know, the reverse of that is true as well. You know, you talk about people who think they're unlucky and they're, you know, they're anxious, and they're people who think that they're lucky, people who think that they're automatically looking for the positive pathways and the good in any kind of a situation. And it's really, really interesting. My dad used to tell me this story that, oh my God, used to piss me off to no end because I didn't ever get it. And he used to tell me this story where he would say, you know, there's a caravan of merchants and people traveling from one city to another city. And as the caravan reached the city wall of the new city that they're going to, there was a wise man sitting at the city gate. And someone at the beginning of the caravan said, "Excuse me, wise man, tell me about the city." And the wise man says, "What would you like to know about the city?" And the guy says, "Hey, is it a good city? Is it a happy city? Is it a good place to raise children?" And the wise man said, "Well, how was the city you came from?" And the guy says, "Oh, it was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. You always had to keep your dagger close to your vest. It was a terrible place to raise children. You couldn't trust anybody." And the wise man said, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you that this city is exactly the same." And the guy said, "Oh, thank you, wise man, for your honesty. I appreciate that." And as the caravan goes in, right, same caravan from the same city, as the caravan goes in, there's another gentleman at the end of the caravan who does the same thing. "Wise man, tell me about the city." And the wise man says, "What would you like to know about the city? How is it? Is it a good place to live? Is it a good place to raise a family?" And the wise man says, "Tell me about the city you came from." And the guy says, "Ah, it was great. Everyone was so friendly. You could trust your neighbor. Fantastic place to raise kids." And the wise man says, "Well, I'm happy to tell you that this city is exactly the same." And it used to piss me off so much because I was like, it's not the same. It's not the same. These people are having two very different experiences. And my dad was like, exactly. Same place, two very different experiences. What's different? Because the cities aren't different. The cities are exactly the same. What's different? And he was trying to teach me that your perspective matters. How you view things in the world matter. And I love that. And I feel like Matt is one of these that embodies this kind of concept, right? So when he does come across a gray man, when there is a gray, because he does this numerous times throughout the books, he identifies gray men numerous times. And it's always because he's looking for something's not right. Now, whether it's because he has a premonition, whether it's because he's lucky, whether it's because he has a paranoid disposition and is very aware that his head is on the chopping block, he has been able to consistently pick out gray men where nobody else has been able to do that. And I believe that it comes down to, and I will say that it comes down to his perspective, more his perspective and less his Taviran nature, because we have other Taviran in the books that do not as easily recognize.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Here we go.
So
Ding,
the
ding.
one Taviran who I always crap on for doing nothing has the most distinct advantage as who he is in finding and discovering gray men. And that's Perrin, the wolf brother. He can simply smell the wrongness. So as he gets used to being a wolf brother, it becomes a thing where when he's around, he's never taken by surprise by the gray men.
Okay, but that's not because he notices them.
Yeah, it is.
Because he smells a wrongness. He is alerted to them. It's the difference between passive sonar and active sonar, right? Matt is actively going, something's not right, what's going on? Perrin goes, ping, I just got pinged with wrongness.
See, I kind of like what you said about Matt and the possibility that, he's used to being in trouble. And so he's always like looking over his shoulder. He's always kind of expecting to be. So I kind of thinking about that, not just in terms of Greyman, but I wonder how many other times that kind of comes into play with his Taviran nature. Like, does that kind of intermingle with his luck in that he is kind of more observant because he's used to kind of like, well, I hope nobody sees me with this bag of badger.
Guile.
I mean, most of the times I remember Matt like happening to notice a gray man. He is scanning the area, but he slides right past the gray man, and something triggers in his brain to go back and look and be like, wait, something was off about what I just saw. So he's also not like he's looking around, he's taking in his surroundings, but he's not actively scanning for threats all the time. Just like Perrin isn't actively sniffing for threats, his passive abilities allow him to be alerted and detected. So to me, I don't see them as any different, but I see Perrin's wolf brotherness as more foolproof than Matt's awareness and luck, because
it's definitely more tangible.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely more tangible, and there's a direct link to it. Like, we know what it is, we know where it comes from, we know relatively how it works. And so it's one of the few kind of things that I give Perrin credit for, because after the first time or two, it no longer is a something smells wrong or something smells weird. It's a I smell a gray man. So just like the wolves, he picks up and registers that scent of wrongness and catalogs it, and now associates it with the gray man, and then using his senses actively seeks out the gray man. And I think there's a couple times, more than a couple times, he saves people in his camps from graymen that are, about to strike. And Matt does the same thing too. And I think there's instances where, like we mentioned Tom earlier, Tom does the same thing. Which, if we're going to go with impressive just on noticing and taking out a gray man, Tom kind of takes the cake. He doesn't have any of this fancy Taviran luck sense bullshit. Tom is just the badass gleeman that's been around the block and be like,
facts.
The nightmare story, more of your nightmare stories are true than you realize. And the ones that aren't true, you would rather have than the ones that are true.
Agreed.
But I think one of the things that drives home just how terrifyingly hard to notice the gray man are, think broader as a group of individuals, as a culture, who is probably the best at noticing anything in the entire Wheel of Time?
Aiel.
Exactly.
Reese Sedai.
The Aiel. How many times does a gray man slip right past a Maiden of the Spear guarding Rand before he learns to ward his bedroom?
That's true.
So many times to where they keep coming to Rand saying, we have tow, we failed our job. And Rand's like, it's a fucking gray man. It's a freak of the shadow and the pattern. Like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, you have an express set of skills that are incredible. This thing is just made specifically to defeat your express set of skills. You are really good at observing and noticing. This thing is purpose built to not be noticed or observed. Like, you're fine. And of course, like Aiel, they're like, we have even more tow because you told us we don't have tow. So now there's double tow. You're a stupid wetlander, Rand, and Avienda gets mad. But that's one of the things I think that should be most, because there's not really any other situation in the books where the Aiel are caught completely off guard necessarily. I mean, there is obviously when Rand is taken hostage by the Aes Sedai. They're not expecting that, so they're out wild by the Aes Sedai in that instance. But other than that one thing, like it's more than once that a gray man slips by the Aiel guards around Rand, and I think that even becomes one of the reasons why they demand that Rand sleeps at the top of the Maiden's hold wherever they are, or they will make their hold wherever he is, because they're like, look, they can get past a guard at the door, But what are the chances they're going to get past a hole that's full of like 200 IEL maidens of the sphere?
I love how they still don't get it. It's like,
Yeah,
that's the point. That's what it was designed to do.
but it is like it is much harder because they're not impossible to notice. They're just incredibly difficult to notice. Like, supernaturally difficult to see.
Okay, so question then for both of you. We have a physical description of gray men, and they look dead, right? To me, I would think that would stand out. If I'm looking around a crowded room, and I see, people with, fleshy faces, pink or red or black or, whatever the skin tones are. I've never seen a motherfucker with gray skin. Okay. Not once, except for like a couple times at JordanCon when Andrew was really hungover. But
that's fair.
What is it? Do you think there is something about their transformation that makes them unseeable, or is there what do you think that is? What do you think that is? Reese, you go first. What do you think is that kind of aspect?
What makes them?
Do you think it's an object of? Do you think it's a thing of the power? Like, is there some weave?
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that like they're a lesser part of the pattern. Like they're kind of dimmed. Like they're like I like thinking about that squiggly line in my eye.
So,
and how
they're gray, but not necessarily the color gray. More like
like their thread is like thinned out.
A squiggly line in my eye.
Yeah, I like thinking about that. Like they kind of they can move freer about the pattern because they are not as connected to it, and they can't be as noticed because they're not as solidly part of it. I don't know if necessarily that's true, but I don't know. It's interesting thought.
I actually really like that because I start going to the visions of like the pattern of ages, right? And every mortal has a thread in the pattern of ages, and a gray man is just like, I'm over here now, and he just kind of phasing around doing some things. That's actually
they're not a snag, they're like a fray that just kind of goes over the rest of the fabric,
just doing their thing. They're not really mingling with everybody. They're just surfing. All right, Andrew, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
I mean, not to sound like facetious, but there's really no way to avoid that. I mean, I could say it nicer, but I agree because that's exactly the way that they're explained.
That's technically correct.
That was facetious for you, Josh. That just tells me Reese was listening earlier and you weren't. You have an excuse. You're a sick little baby. You're a sick little baby.
I'm sick of y'all. I'm a real good actor.
I just love giving you shit. But no, I like it. I mean, they give us the mechanics of how they're made, but necessarily like there's not an actual full-on concrete explanation as to how or if that's what makes them so hard to notice. Again, these people become dark friends. They give their soul over to the Dark One, who presumably removes it from the body, uses the body in service to the shadow. Every other shadow spawn entity is granted some degree of unique ability or access or special feat of nature or whatever that they can do by their relation and connection to the Dark One. Like Fades can move in and out. Well, we don't know how they can, but Fades can move in and out of shadows. Their very gaze is fear itself. Then you have like the superhuman strength and stamina and endurance of the Trollocs. You have the somewhat inexplicable taint that goes on most blades from Thakandar, not necessarily all. So you have all this going on. So it makes then you get Patton Fane, who gets his I'm gonna follow 3 boys from the 2 rivers without coins sent from Shaitan at Shao Ghul. So if these are dark friends that have to make the same kind of journey to Shao Ghul, and they volunteer their souls to service of the Dark One, and he takes it, that is, like Reese was talking about, removing an element of them from the active pattern. So the body remains, but the soul that's part of their thread in the pattern is now gone. So I kind of think of it like whenever you have a rope that's like a braid of like 3 separate strands of rope, and now you pull out one strand, and now you just have that smaller strand that's just the body now. And it's, if you're looking around, it's harder to notice a thin strand than a thicker strand of rope. And I kind of think it's the same thing. And I think a part of like the human nature to look and recognize patterns and look for similarities and recognize things that are similar to you can work against you. And where when you see something that your brain can't really comprehend, or your brain tells you doesn't fit or isn't right, there is a tendency to just look past it. So I mean, I think that's what's happening here. I think that instinctively your brain just kind of goes like, like, oh, there's something there, but it's not really there. We're just going to blank it out and not pay it any attention. Because you, with your soul, are still fully linked to the pattern, but this body that's moving around, this husk that used to be a person, now still exists within the pattern, but is outside of the normal boundaries and elements of the pattern.
So, fun story. The novel Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was published in 1979.
Mm.
Is the SEP drive the inspiration for the Gray Men? Because it stands to reason that Robert Jordan would have read or at least been involved in these kinds of sci-fi fantasy things, right? It's too close. It's almost verbatim. It's almost the same exact thing. Have either of you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I watched the movie.
I can't remember. I don't think I did.
Not in the movie. It's not in the movie.
I have not. I have it. It's one of the books back there. I actually have it. I just haven't actually read it.
I haven't read it. I've got it.
That's a much nicer copy than mine.
Look,
it's way nicer copy than mine.
There's this whole scene in which, Ford and Arthur Dent, right? Ford is the guy who's played by Mos Def, and Arthur Dent is the guy who's played by the guy who played Bilbo Baggins, young Bilbo, Martin Freeman. And there's a scene in The Hitchhiker's Guide in like later on in the story after the movie where I want to say they're at Wimbledon, like watching a tennis match. And Ford keeps on being like, and Arthur's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I think I can see someone, but it's someone else's problem. And Arthur's like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's this whole sequence where Ford is trying to pick out a ship in this crowd of people, but it's cloaked with an SEP drive, someone else's problem drive. And this is Dr. Livingston. I know you watch the show. I know you're a big fan. If you could cover this in Origins Part 2, that would be great. But I'm going to say right now that I've blown the lid off of this. I think the Gray Men have an SCP drive and that they're inspired from Hitchhiker's. Boom. I'm throwing it out there. I'm committed. And if you are watching this and you've read Hitchhiker's Guide, comment below how right I am.
Well, there's also like there's a concept in personnel security called personal security called Gray Man theory, which is just the blending in with your surroundings to avoid attracting unwanted attention.
Right.
And it's like the simplest thing. You think like no shit now. Like if you've ever played like especially any of the earlier Assassin's Creed games, if you kill somebody and now the guards are chasing you, just run into the nearest crowd and match pace with them, and now suddenly you're invisible.
Yeah.
Even though you're clearly wearing your fucking Enzo or Enzio or whatever his fucking name is, wearing your whole white hood get up, you blend into the crowd. Yeah. So the same thing. You just blend in and try to fly under the radar, kind of thing.
In that situation, they're looking for someone who's running. They're looking for someone who's panicking.
Yeah. I mean, in that specific situation for Assassin's Creed, but it's a thing in general. I mean, how many times do we watch like spy movies and there's this spy that's been living a life somewhere else perfectly fine, not doing anything until they get activated. And like they go through a whole boring ass sequence of them just walking around in town doing the same routine, being boring as shit. And then at some point they're like, that's how I've maintained my cover. I don't do anything notable. I fly under the radar. I try to be as boring
Look,
can be.
I've told my kids, so like my oldest is learning to drive, and I've told my oldest, we had the talk, right, where I said, hey, you're gonna start driving, you're gonna get pulled over by the police at some point.
Oh, that the talk. Oh, okay.
That the talk, yeah. No, the other one was years ago, Andrew. But I've told them, I'm like, hey, here's how to behave with when a police officer has pulled you over. It's for your security and for theirs. Here's how you la 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 la. Here's what you do. And then I always end the conversation with, what is the trick to not getting pulled over? And they always go, I don't know. And I go, don't speed.
Fucking supercharger and a double shot of NOS, motherfucker. Let's go.
They will not pull you over, because 99% of the time when they catch people, it's because they were speeding, or because they were driving with a taillight out, or because blah, 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 blah. So if you want to run drugs and carry 2,000 pounds of fucking, I don't know, narcotics in your trunk, don't speed and don't drive a car with its fucking taillights out. You can drive across the entire nation with a nuclear bomb in your truck. No one will stop you.
Well, Josh, I hope you enjoy your next couple interactions with...
I'm sorry, yes, hello?
Pick a 3-letter agency.
Why are you guys calling me?
Especially whenever they look at your employer and see, Lockheed Martin, huh? Weird.
You know why I can say that? Because people are dumb and they're still going to speed.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still going to have taillights out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they caught Ted Bundy. He had a taillight out. And then they put him on the radar.
Well, it's not always, but there's plenty of times it's like the mundane, stupid stuff that's easily avoidable that gets people caught. Like Al Capone getting caught because of tax evasion.
Well,
or failing to pay his taxes. Well, there's more, but yeah.
But yes, that's how they
you still have to have like a core charge to even be able to use, and if you can get rid of those, then whatever. Yep. But there's the obvious link too with the gray man, the grays, like the aliens, depending on how far you go into all of that. So, and like we know, Robert Jordan doesn't take inspiration for his things from like just one area. There's a good chance that it's of all of these, or none of these, or maybe Josh is right and it's only Josh's idea. Which I'm not gonna lie, the first couple times I thought you were saying SCP, like the SCP Foundation. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're probably also fit. I'm sure there's an SCP called the Gray Man. One of you Wheel of Time nerds has added it to the SCP page.
Look it up. Oh shit. We got an Reese Sedai who thinks she's clever. What about the Gray Aja? Yeah. Nobody sees them either. Oh shit! Black Tower.
I would point out. I would point out all the incredible stuff they do in the book series, but they do less than Perrin. So.
Oh.
Though to their credit, there's not many Reese Sedai that do more than Perrin. So.
Oh, what's up,
sorry, Reese.
Black Tower, the honey badger of Wheel of Time? What's up?
We got to get used to having a
Reese,
bit of a
Reese
Sedai
is over
in our
here.
presence.
This is not awkward at all. I just switched teams.
I don't know why you think I switched teams.
Shit. Andrew, she's taking notes. She's sending a pigeon back to the White Tower.
You invited me here.
We feed all the pigeons wine before they leave.
A special wine.
Yeah. In the age of traveling, who uses a pigeon like a peasant?
I said I do.
Oh, man. The gateway manipulations that win the last battle. No, they just observed. They just sat there and stared through a portal because they were too afraid to get close to battle.
You didn't see them, did you?
No, because we were on the same side.
Hey-oh!
I don't know which is worse, not seeing your enemy or not seeing your ally on the battlefield. I really don't know which is worse.
Is friendly fire turned on?
Oh man!
All right, hey, final thoughts on the Gray Man. Reese, as our newest host, take it away. Give us the honor. What are your final thoughts on the Gray Man?
Final thoughts on the Gray Man. I can't quite put my finger on them.
Clever.
Clever Sedai.
He's clever.
Do I have to say something else?
I mean, you don't have to.
No,
No, I'm just kidding. No, I
you don't
think
have to do anything.
that's true.
Except that.
No, I think it's interesting how they kind of can sidestep detection, even from some of our most observant people. Like they do, unless they have some supernatural ability, they have to try very hard. Even with a supernatural ability, sometimes they have to try to see them. And I think it's it's an interesting process and tool that the Dark One gets to play with.
The Dark One playing with his tools.
My tools.
Too bad he breaks all of his toys. Man.
If ever there was any doubt that you belonged on this show, Andrew.
Yeah, that's me.
How does the gray
What's
man
up,
make
Giggles?
your butt cheeks clench?
I would say they make him clench, but I never see him coming. It's like a MEPS doctor ringing the doorbell. You don't know he's coming until he's there.
Dr. Big Hands and Dr. Cold Hands. Which one?
Which I don't know if that's the better way or the worse way to get a prostate exam. Like, would you rather be warned that the prostate exam is coming, or have it be a surprise and over before you really have that much time to react?
Is that a rhetorical question, or are you looking for an answer?
I mean, you don't have to answer. I'm going to say I'd rather have the warning, because there's no telling what's going to happen if you don't warn me. All right. There's all kinds of defense mechanisms that might suddenly engage, and it ain't going to be good for any of us. And the person I feel the worst for in that situation, the janitor, because it's going to get fucking messy.
Look.
You remember that scene from Dumb and Dumber when he accidentally melts the chocolate bar all over the bathroom? That's going to be me as a 45-year-old man at the doctor's office if you don't give me a warning.
You don't give me a warning.
It'll be the last time you ever don't. I promise you that.
I too prefer a warning, because I prefer to know what kind of a party I'm going to. Is that your final thoughts, sir?
No, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I like the Greymen. They're cool. It's a cool little addition that I think fills a bit of a gap in the shadow strategy. It gives you a bit of a threat to kind of fill in where there's not really a good way for there to be another threat. But I also think they're, like most things, the shadow underutilizes them. Maybe they just don't have enough to use, or maybe they used them all up. Maybe the Greymen played more of a role in how the different Forsaken took control of the governments they go into than they were used against actively fighting the forces of the light, which worked out so well for all of them.
Love it. My final thoughts on the Gray Man are, and I've discussed this before, and I'll bring it up again. Just Google ghost heart, okay? And it's a medical process by which all of the
ghost fart
muscle is removed from a heart, and the only thing that's left is like the connective tissue and like tendon and fat and things like that. And scientists and medical professionals are using this to have a more perfect adherence to a heart transplant, because they can use cells within the recipient's body to grow muscle tissue around the heart, around the ghost heart, and then implant the ghost heart into the recipient with like almost a 99.9% chance of success. It's an absolutely, it's something out of sci-fi, and it exists today.
That's cool.
My thinking is that a Gray Man undergoes a sort of ghost heart type process. Obviously, their physicality remains, but something about their energy, something about their life force is removed. Maybe it's the soul. Maybe that's what we refer to as the soul. But human beings, we have energy, and we are receptive to that energy. That's why when someone's upset, when someone's happy, when someone is having a good day or a bad day or a long day, or when someone's tired. And people will say, hey, well, this is physical, they're physical keys that are given. It's like, cool, yeah, I understand that, but maybe that's why the gray man is so sneaky. The gray man doesn't give those subtle micro expressions, those triggers, those little things that subconsciously tell you I'm reacting in a certain way. And maybe the fact that you get no reading on this person's emotional state is why they blend in so well. And when you try and scan an audience, I mean, but think about this though. Go to next time you're in an airport, next time you're in a crowded place, do some people watching, and just scan your eyes, and you'd be surprised how quickly you look at people and you go, that person's sad, that person's happy, that person's hungry, that person's whatever, and you'll be surprised at how quickly that you'll be consciously aware of their emotional state. Now, maybe you're wrong, but in the situation of a gray man, that's irrelevant. You're still registering a response from those people. And then go back and look at the exact same people, but really focus on every single person in that situation. I'll bet you money there'll be at least 2 people you missed, because your mind was I'm just scanning versus looking at it. And the problem is, or at least the armor with the gray man, is that they rely on you to just treat every situation as normal. I'm walking into a tavern, everything's fine, I can have a drink. They're counting on you to think that. And that's one of the reasons why I said Matt was some sort of an anomaly there, because Matt's always looking for the next person that's going to come at him. So I love the gray man. I think the gray man is a fantastic addition to our villain codex, and it makes me happy. And that's my final thoughts. That's my long-winded speech for the night.
Thank God you're finally done. Jesus Christ.
So
thought you'd never finish.
Listen to me.
I disassociated halfway through that.
I know.
Yeah.
I could see it on your face. Oh!
Everyone could.
Everyone. Shut up.
Yeah, let's see how well you can read me once I give my soul over to Shaitan. That'll teach him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's not a phase, Mom.
It's not a phase.
Thank you, everyone. This has been another fun.
Turned his mom over to the shadow because she was like, it's a phase. He's like, it's not a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle. Take her to the Murdral.
Jesus Christ, that got dark. Holy fuck, Josh.
You know what? Don't at me, bro.
The taint already has him.
I don't. I don't have to at. We're talking right now. Jesus. Thank you all for joining us. Again, make sure to tell Reese the question mark Mahale for now. Welcome to the to the show.
Welcome to the tower. Every single day.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh,
are
yeah.
You look
totally not regretting choices right now.
Oh, my internet connection.
Oh, no.
But like all next week, we will be delving into part 2 of a discussion. Is the current plan that we started. I don't know what I read, but it wasn't what was written, and definitely caused me a pause. We started a discussion on a certain character from the Wheel of Time, and it do be a good discussion, and we're going to try to wrap that up next week, barring any changes to the schedule. So we'll be filling up this screen with 4 faces is the plan next week. Also, for you listening live, patrons, and for those of you that are listening to this and are like, oh no, I missed it. Missed it. This Sunday, the 23rd, is the draft for the Wheel of Time Season 3 Fantasy League.
Woo!
It is time for the Black Tower to take back the belt.
Yeah, we'll be doing the thing. Hopefully, we'll see.
Well,
Maybe Reese will have like good decisions, and Josh and I can ride on her coattails.
Totally.
So we'll be doing the draft. We'll be introducing some of the teams. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it's not going to be the last before the show gets started. We have another live stream planned the weekend before the TV show releases fully publicly, at least the first 3 episodes, not counting the RSVP for the fan event that you should go and check out, because you can watch episode 1 an entire week early if you RSVP for it. I'm not sure of the logistics, so don't quote me on it. By the time you're listening to this, you might not be able to RSVP anymore. I don't know. We're not a Wheel of Time TV show news show. That's Talker on Riyadh. So if you want more information, go follow them or go check out like Critter on TikTok. Now that that's no longer banned, go do all that stuff.
You just listed off like so many people who are way cooler than we are.
Just go find someone cooler than us. They'll tell you what to do.
But they don't have Reese. So
That's true.
Right now we're winning. They also don't have, well, Talker on Riyadh has the power of 3, but fucking
Wheel and Chill has the power of 3.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people with the power of 3. Twatcast has the power of like 1.5, 2 on a good day.
Look, we need to be. Yeah, you're not wrong. Tom is always like.
Yeah. Guys, we love y'all. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're really excited. We're happy to be back up to 3 people. So don't be shocked in the coming weeks if something happens and you only see 2 of us from here and there. Again, this again enables us to, if any of us need to take a break or something comes up, whatever the case is, we can do that. And it's very important for us to be able to do that. So that means that there's a far less chance that you're going to have to go a week without an episode of Black Tower Podcast, because we know that you all bite your nails and freak out when you don't get that notification that BTV has uploaded. So we're doing the things, we're having the fun. Yeah. So with that being said, I have been one of your hosts. My name's Andrew. I'm one of the Mahales with the full title. That's Bijan.
I have been another of your hosts. My name is Josh, not Jeff, although it is fun to say, my name is Jeff. And yeah.
Watch yourself, Jam.
Well, and I have been a third of your thruple of hosts. Cut that.
Oh wait, are we in a throuple now? Andrew and I have been a couple for years now. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
What are we? What are we? Do you what?
Let's not put a label on it yet.
It's a very fluid situation, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of fluid here. Thank you all. We love you. And we will see you all again next week for the next episode.
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow. In the shadows, always watching, always running the show.